Welcome, members and friends, to the 2020 virtual ASGCA annual meeting. I'm Aileen Smith, Director of Programs for ASGCA.
And I'm Mark Whitney, Director of Marketing and Communications. This is a unique annual meeting. There are a number of things that we get together to do each year that we won't have the opportunity to enjoy. We won't have the gathering of the ASGCA members in their Ross tartan jackets for the official photograph. We won't get to experience Chad herding everyone into the meeting rooms to keep us right on schedule as he does each year. But there are a number of things that we can do. We will be able to share with you the presentation of the ASGCA Donald Ross Award to Renee Powell. Renee's a trailblazer, a pioneer and an inspiration. She's also a teacher, and I think you're really going to enjoy hearing from her as we move along. Jan Beljan, our president, will share some thoughts on the time that she has spent leading the organization over the past 16 months. She'll also share with you some of the advances within ASGCA itself that has kept us a leader within the golf industry. Chad Ritterbush will be along with his Executive Director's report to tell us about the business side of the society. And we'll get to experience the passing of the gavel from Jan Beljan to Forrest Richardson, and we'll hear from our incoming president as well. We'll also have some fun along the way with some surprises, so thank you for joining us.
And now I'll kick things off by turning the meeting over to Jan Beljan, who will recap her busy and unusual year as ASGCA president, followed by ASGCA Secretary Britt Stenson with news about our 75th annual meeting set for fall of 2021 in Cleveland.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to lead this organization for the past year plus. I owe a lot of thanks to our current executive committee: Forrest Richardson, Vice President; Jason Straka, Treasurer; Brett Stinson, Secretary; and Jeff Bloom, immediate past President. It's been such a delight working with them because of their creative energy, the unfettered communication, and their commitment to the society. I also thank the previous executive committees for beginning and implementing a strategic plan that was foresighted. Our Board of Governors: Mike Benkuski, Bill Bergen, Jeff Brower, Billy Fuller, Brian Huntley, Jeff Lawrence, Andy Staples, and Bryce Swenson. They offered thoughtful and timely responses to all the issues that we dealt with this past year. To our membership committee, currently Bill Bergen and Chris Weslinski, but also the past chairman, Doug Carrick, Gary Lynn, Mark Mungiam, Drew Rogers, Mike Benkuski, and Tim Liddy, who got us to where we are today. To our education committee for their imaginative contributions to our learning: Kevin Atkinson, Jeff Danner, Thad Layton, Todd Quintno, and Andy Staples. Particularly to the spouses and families of all our volunteer members who graciously allow the society to have bits of time that would normally be devoted to family. To the partners, sponsors, and industry providers. Without them, we could not provide the communication and education to our members, clients, and general public. To Chad, Aileen, Mark, and the support staff at headquarters. Your dedication to each member and to the society is evident in every interaction with us, our partners, sponsors, industry providers, and allied associations. I'm humbled by your loyalty and commitment to the ASGCA. Your ideas enrich us, and your business savvy and emotional intelligence help us achieve our goals. And Gary, my partner in love and life, thank you for your patience and enthusiastic support during my term. You have been the part of my life that hasn't changed, regardless of how world conditions have changed everything for everyone. All of us have been working together for the benefit of the profession, the industry, and the game. So now I'll tell you about some of the things we accomplished during this term. We became a presenting sponsor at the Golf Industry Show with a full day of education at the show. We created a winter meeting with attendance open to owners, superintendents, managers, builders, vendors, and we engaged Gary Williams of the Golf Channel to moderate a conversation about Pete and Alice Dye at the winter meeting. We approved new bylaws that eliminated the associate category, simplified meeting attendance requirements, brought the society into the present, and prepared it for the future. The last bylaws we had changed were in 2012. Our future decision makers now have greater flexibility to adapt to changing times. We revised the membership application process, creating transparency and ease of access to potential members. We've continued our third year with John Last Sports and Research Leisure Group to explore trends in course development for pragmatic and actionable recommendations. We initiated Environmental Excellence Awards with 7 awardees. Judging was performed by our colleagues at GCSAA, NCGOA, and Otterbahn International. We continued engagement with USGA regarding distance and forward tees. We're not finished with this, so you can expect to hear more in the future. We inaugurated the first member-non-member study tour golf gathering at Ohoopee. This exemplifies our commitment to engaging effectively with the entire profession, including younger architects. Many thanks to Gil Hance for hosting this great event. We supported We Are Golf and benefited from lobbying efforts that positively affected waters of the U.S. ruling for golf courses and golf course design, and ensure that golf facilities were eligible for CARES Act relief. More than 6,000 golf course operators took advantage of the aid provided by the Payroll Protection Program and more. Thanks to Treasurer Jason Straka, we had a glyphosate toolkit prepared for us by the GCSAA. We introduced the Junior Golf Design Challenge featuring hundreds of submissions from young people across the U.S. and 6 other countries. We launched a health insurance benefit for members. That's what we did as a society. In representing the society, I attended the USGA 2019 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach to see Lee Elder receive the Bob Jones Award. I attended my 3rd Diversity and Inclusion Roundtable at the PGA Show and drove to Pinehurst to attend the 3rd USGA annual meeting. With the GCSAA, I offered presentations at the Golf Industry Show and was a panelist and moderator. With the Golf Course Builders Association, I represented at the regional meeting in December. The PGA Hall of Fame Awards, Shirley Spork and Barbara Nicholas were honored. The LPGA Hall of Fame Awards, the National Golf Course Owners, Multi-Course Owners meetings, and the Golf Inc. meetings. All of these were places where I was able to wear the Ross tartan and make sure that they knew that our society was represented. In articles, podcasts, and radio interviews, I raised the profile of the ASGCA and its continuing commitment to women as influential in the economic sustainability of golf. At the request of Susie Whaley, president of the PGA of America, I wrote an article on more forward tees for the January 2020 PGA Magazine, the PGA Show issue. I moderated a ladies leading turf panel discussion for Syngenta at the Golf Industry Show, and continue to raise awareness for including people with disabilities in golf by providing an interview and written content to the Canadian Club Manager Quarterly magazine. I supported our major partners in the presentation of A Short History of Irrigation on Dr. Thomas Nicolai's Turf Grass Talk Show, and followed that with an 11-page article in Golf Course Management magazine. We continue to raise the profile of inclusivity in golf, and will do that even after my term. Several trips were canceled, and with the arrival of COVID, many things changed, but we still were able to have interaction, perhaps even more than if we were in person, and we had even greater communication despite the lockdowns. As I end my term, I thank each of you for your support and good wishes, and assure you that the Society is in the capable hands of Forrest Richardson, Jason Straka, Britt Stenson, and our newest executive committee member, Mike Benkuski. With gratitude and God's blessings to all, I thank you.
I know it was a difficult decision to postpone, and I'm really grateful to the board that they've decided to have the meeting in Cleveland in 2021. It may not be the city that gets the heart racing, but it does have a lot to offer for a memorable, affordable annual meeting. The hotel is in University Circle, which is the health and cultural center of Cleveland. There's Case Western University, Cleveland Clinic, several museums, all within a short walk, and especially the Cleveland Museum of Art. My wife, Kate, has been a dozen there for 20 years, and she is looking forward to hosting a spouse tour of one of the top 5 art museums in the U.S. If you have time, which we often don't have much time, but if you have time for a stroll, the cultural gardens, 29 countries are down just past the art museum. Each country has created and maintains a garden celebrating their culture. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a short drive to downtown Cleveland. And the fantastic golf. We've got 3 Golden Age classics that have stood the test of time. The Country Club is a 1930 William Flynn design, beautiful routing on a beautiful piece of ground. Billy Burke was the original club pro. Lawson Little won his Little Slam there in 1935. And the great Bobby Jones was in his gallery and included the 15th hole in his Ideal 18. Lydia Ko won the women's amateur there in 2012. Canterbury Country Club, 1922 Herbert Strong design, has hosted 13 major professional events. And it's only one of 2 courses in the United States to have hosted all 5 rotating men's majors: the U.S. Open, PGA, Senior Open, Senior PGA, and the U.S. Amateur. Henry Picard was the club's 2nd pro, and the winners is a who's who of greats, from Walter Hagen and Lloyd Mangrum to Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. Our own Robert Trent Jones listed the challenging 18th hole on his Ideal 18 that he put together for Time magazine in 1954. Kirtland Country Club, a 1922 C.H. Allison design, has one of the most dramatic sights and maybe the most dramatic back 9 in all of Ohio, including a funicular ride from the 17th green to the 18th tee. Finally, you'll spend a little time traversing Shaker Heights, which is a 1920s planned residential community around a light rail connecting it to downtown. Google map the unique layout if you get a little chance. It's really something to see, the street layout. So I hope to see you all in Cleveland fall of 2021.
Thanks for that, Britt. And I encourage everyone to stay until the end of this program, when Britt will make one more appearance. With banjo in hand, he'll channel Kenny Rogers. That's all I'm saying. Thanks also to our team for putting this virtual annual meeting together. It's been wild, but they've been strong, and I'm proud to serve with them. I can say the same about President Jan Beljan, who has led well this year by being who she is: steady, thoughtful, hardworking, kind. She exemplifies a great quote given to me this week by one of our leadership partners, Tim Shantz at Troon. Tim has also led well in this crisis and sent this to me from Calvin Coolidge. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not, genius will not, education will not. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Throughout this crisis, Jan has helped us all press on, and I'm grateful for her example and encouragement. Do you know what else has encouraged me during this crisis? Being on the golf course. Every weekend I take my kids to an average but welcoming layout near us. The course is packed, even late in the evening. The owner is thrilled, and I've never seen golf look more like America, with people of all ages, genders, and races taking up the game. It's a time of change, and we need to help golf courses adapt. Some will need forward tees, other practice areas. Some will need new bunkers or irrigation. All must adjust. And no person is better qualified to help golf courses adjust than the golf course architect, especially when accompanied by golf course builders, suppliers, and others who bring innovations that save money, labor, and more. Friends, this is our time. I can't wait for next week when ASGCA's new president, Forrest Richardson, will expand on this idea in a terrific video. Look for a link to that video from ASGCA in a few days and enjoy the passing of our gavel to Forrest later in this program. A few weeks ago, my 12-year-old really connected off the tee. It was the kind of shot that we all hit that brings us back. After the ball came to rest, she turned to me with a huge smile on her face. Said, "Dada, golf is great when you get things right." During this unusual time, we too are trying to get things right. We're providing professional development opportunities and fellowship. We're helping owners make informed choices about golf course improvements. We're supporting the game's efforts to be strong, especially in Washington. Thanks to lobbying efforts by our industry, things are different than in 2005, when golf was exempted from emergency post-hurricane programs. Now golf can qualify for the same government help as other small businesses, and many golf facilities have been aided in recent months by these programs. We're now 6 months into the crisis, and I'm more encouraged. As one of our longest tenured members told me, our momentum is the best he's seen in 20 years. A few people have asked me recently how we are doing as an organization, and the answer is that we're doing just fine. We are financially strong, and our members are riding out the crisis, even looking to do more. Please lean on us in this season to help your practice, help your company be as strong as possible. I want to acknowledge those who have passed away since our last annual meeting. Dave Bennett was a nice man who treasured his affiliation with ASGCA. It's hard to overstate the impact of Pete Dye, who did so much to facilitate the careers of others in golf course architecture and all of golf, and whose support has even carried on after his passing. Recently, his estate sent us the biggest gift in the nearly 50-year history of the ASGCA Foundation. My mentor, Paul Fulmer, over 34 years as ASGCA Executive Secretary, helped make golf course architecture so much better known and so much more highly valued by clients. And Keith Evans, a class guy, a good friend, a wonderful playing partner. These four men exemplify our potential to grow the game at a time of momentum, to grow the industry by helping facilities succeed, to build the profession by supporting golf course architects, both experienced and aspiring, to help ASGCA as it broadens how it supports everyone just mentioned. Folks, it's been a tough year, but I hope you know how much we appreciate your terrific support. We are succeeding our way through this. Now let's finish the year strong. Let's press on. For now, though, it's an honor to tee up the next portion of our virtual annual meeting, the presentation of our highest award to Renee Powell and the Powell family. Talk about people who know how to press on. I'll never forget meeting Mr. Powell at industry events years ago, and I've so enjoyed the chance to learn more about Renee and Larry and their family in recent months. They are special people, and thanks to Renee and Jan and our awards committee and our staff for all they've done to make this Ross Award happen in a most unusual year. Jan, take it away.
Good morning. I'm pleased to be here at America's Golf Course, Clearview Golf Club, to honor our Donald Ross Award recipient, Dr. Renee Powell, PGA, LPGA. For decades, Renee has been doing something for humanity through golf. As a teenager, she broke barriers with her exceptional playing ability. She captained the Ohio State University golf team and broke more barriers as an LPGA player. Between 1967 and 1980, Renee played in over 250 tournaments. In 1979, she became the first woman head professional in the United Kingdom at Silvermere near London. As an international golf ambassador, Renee made 25 trips throughout the continent of Africa to teach golf. In 1988, Renee returned home and began building inner-city youth programs in Cleveland and toured historically Black colleges and universities to attract new players. She became the first Black female member of the PGA of America in 1996. 3 years later, she was named an honorary member of the LPGA Teaching and Club Professional Division. Renee served as development and programming consultant to the First Tee in 2000, and in 2000 began the LPGA Girls Golf Club at Clearview. In 2003, Renee received the PGA of America's First Lady of Golf Award. Well done. In 2007, she received the inaugural LPGA Rolex for the Love of the Game Award. In 2008, the University of St. Andrews bestowed Renee with an honorary doctorate of law. The University of Maryland, Eastern Shore bestowed a Doctor of Public Service in 2010. In 2015, Dr. Renee Powell became one of 7 female members at the first and only Black female member of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews. In 2018, Renee became the only golfer, the only woman, the only American, and the only Black person to have a residency building named after her at St. Andrews University in Scotland. Renee is a living example of inclusivity, just as Clearview Golf Club is a living museum dedicated to the inclusion of all people, regardless of gender or race. Clearview is the physical embodiment of the lives of one family devoted to inclusion and hope for humanity. I present to you the ASGCA 2020 Donald Ross Award recipient, Dr. Renee Powell.
Thank you.
Renee, for you, let me read this for you.
Okay.
Donald Ross Award presented to Renee Powell for serving as one of golf's leading global ambassadors throughout your long professional career, for being a leader in the sport, from playing as a touring professional in the U.S. and United Kingdom to being the first African-American woman to earn a Class A PGA of America membership, and for maintaining the focus on family at home at Clearview Golf Club, the base for your life's work of using golf as a tool to elevate people's lives through the Clearview Legacy Foundation. American Society of Golf Course Architects, August 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jan. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I feel like I'm almost 100 years old, as you were ready. I think I'm tired. But thank you so very much. When I first got the phone call from you, I was absolutely shocked to hear why you were calling me. And I was then very humbled when I looked at the list of people that have been the recipients of this award, people like Gene Saracen and Jack Nicklaus and
Byron
Arnold
Nelson.
Palmer and Byron Nelson and then women like Dinah Shore and Judy Bell and Alice Dye and Dr. Michael Hertzen, who's a very dear friend of our families here. So this is very, very, very special. I knew a little bit about Donald Ross, and I've learned so much more about Donald Ross after the phone call. And I also learned that I didn't realize that he had built and was designed over 400 golf courses in the United States. Amazing. Came from Scotland, built and designed all the courses here, and actually 2 courses here in our area in Stark County, Brookside Country Club and Congress Lake Country Club. So, it's pretty amazing the fact that all of this has happened. I guess when I think about it and have to think, so why are we all here, right?
Why are we here?
Why are we all here? We're here because of many years ago, back in 1926, a little boy at the age of 9 decided to walked down the railroad tracks from his home, and he and a little friend walked upon a big open field, and where they were actually, he saw people that were walking, using these sticks. They looked like they were trying to hit these balls and lose them, and walk and not run to find them, to hit them again to lose them. And that little boy decided that he loved the game and decided that he would learn to caddy. And he went home and told his older brother about this discovery that he made. And so he began in 1926 at the age of 9 to caddy and to play golf, just like so many of the golfers back in the days, like Sam Snead and Byron Nelson, Ben Hogan, and all started out as caddies, as Lee Trevino did. That's true. So he then, the town he was from was just 10 miles down the road here, called Minerva. Okay. He went back, and as he got a little older, started the very first high school golf team they ever had at Minerva High School. He became the number one player of the team. He was a captain and the coach and scheduled all the matches. And then after high school, he wasn't welcome at the same area courses that he played as part of the team because he looked like me or I looked like him. And so he then, we'll fast forward to World War II. And this person actually happened to be my father, William Powell. He went away to World War II. And of all places to go if you love golf, Scotland and England are perfect places to be. But he was able to play golf over there, and on the days off that they had, and he would borrow clubs from the members and use the members' courses to play, or golf clubs from the Red Cross. And when he came back, he said that he thought that things would have changed after spending 3 years overseas. He came back, found out that things had not changed, and he still wasn't welcome to the same area courses, which was not in the South, it was here in Ohio. And he felt that there was some way that he needed to find a way to play this game that he absolutely loved. And the only way that he found he could do it was to build a golf course. So how was he going to do this? He actually he talked to some of his friends, and actually their family was the only black family in the town of Minerva. And his friends would say, well, Willie, you can go to this bank and get a bank loan. He went, and no such thing existed. So they said, well, you can get a GI loan. And he went to the bank. There were no such things as back in those days for GI loans for black soldiers, only for white soldiers. So he couldn't do that, but he still was so persistent and did not want to give up. And he actually taught 2 black doctors to play golf. Oh, wow. And they each put in a third of the money. And my dad still didn't have his money, so he borrowed his money from his older brother, who mortgaged his house to give my dad his share of the money. And they found this plot of land that was an old dairy farm, an old rundown dairy farm. And my dad didn't look at the house. He said, my mom said, he didn't look at the house, he looked at the land. And he walked every piece of the land. And architects, designers are just like artists, you know. It's like, I guess it's like painting a big picture. And that's what he did, was painted this big picture. And there's a stream that runs all through the golf course. And so he plotted where he was going to put the fairways, where he was going to put the greens. And he said that, it was as I said, it was an old rundown dairy farm, and he had to pull out fence posts. He was strong at that time. He was in his 20s. He put out fence posts, and he said he thought he would be able to find a rock picker, but he ended up being the rock picker. Oh my! And he also, and I think all of the gentlemen with red plaid jackets can understand this and can appreciate this. But he didn't have equipment. He would borrow from the farmers, tractor to plow up the land when they had planted their crops. And then he literally, I'm going to give this to you for a second. He literally had a hand seeder around his neck. That how you turn the hand seeder and it spreads the seed. And he literally walked back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, which is how he seeded the entire first 9 holes of this golf course. Because he was so determined to make a difference in society, because he felt that everybody should have an opportunity to play the game that he loved. Mm-hmm. And so, why are we here? We're here because my entire family made many, many sacrifices so that I could learn to play the game of golf. My dad actually taught our entire family how to play. I had an older brother who actually passed away the same year that I went on the LPGA tour in 1967. My dad taught my mom and my younger brother, who started playing tournaments when he was 8, younger than I was when I started playing, and then myself. And I can remember coming home when I was on tour. Would come home, and I would see my mom and dad planting these trees, and like this beautiful oak tree that is so big, and I just marvel at it every day, because my mom and dad planted these trees all over the golf course. And so, I mean, it was a labor of love and a labor of wanting to make sure that everybody was included in this incredible sport of golf. So it was, so as we continued on, and, and like I said, my dad was in Scotland, which is where Donald Ross came from. Right. So as we sort of continued and moved on, and we had the opportunity to play junior golf and all the major amateur tournaments like the U.S. Amateur, the Open, and played the LPGA Tour for 13 years. And so only because of the sacrifices of my entire family, my brother being the superintendent here now, he started working on the golf course when he was 8. He didn't have the same opportunities that I had to play a lot of golf, although he was a better golfer than me. Oh. But because I was a female, there you are. I didn't have to work on the golf course as much. All I had to do was be able in school, get good grades, and play golf.
Why not?
Play good golf. So, and then, the opportunities that I've had, as you mentioned, Jan, to travel throughout the entire world to play golf, to teach others, to educate others about the beauty of our game has been absolutely amazing. And in 2001, Clearview was placed on the National Register of Historic Places, and the plaque behind me, which is the Ohio Historical Marker, was presented and placed here. It was actually one of our board members who's here today was on the, it actually helped to get the golf course placed on the National Register of Historic Places, was because of his documentation and telling the story of Clearview, which is absolutely amazing. So in 2001, we also established the Clearview Legacy Foundation for Education, Preservation, and Turfgrass Research. And so we do so many different programs here. We have programs for youth, and we have programs for our women military veterans. And, today we have one of our veterans is here today. Hollis Burks is here. One of the ladies who is in the Thursday morning ladies league that my mom started back in the 50s is here. Joyce Blau and there are just so many programs. Like, my dad believed that women weren't very welcome back in the days.
That's right, yes.
So he believed women should play the game. He believed that juniors should play the game. And I remember back when I was a teenager, they had the largest junior tournament in the state of Ohio when it was just a 9-hole golf course.
Wow.
The thing that I actually was the happiest about was when I turned 17 and didn't have to play in the tournament anymore, because I always felt so much pressure because I knew I had to win. And I remember my last year, I shot 67. I beat the boys and beat the girls. I was so happy I didn't have to play again in that tournament. But at the time, it was only a 9-hole golf course. In 1978, the course, Daddy was able to add a second 9 holes, and my brother Larry actually helped my dad with the design and work of that golf course. But when we made some changes, we put in some other sets of tees. We were able to put in a couple of ponds that were still waiting to get an irrigation system, which we need, because when Daddy built the golf course, he had enough money just to build the golf course, and he worked day and night. He worked a regular job, but also had to come and worked on the golf course the other waking hours that he had. But so we did that. He put in a couple of extra greens, and actually through the help of Dr. Michael Hertzen, he was very instrumental in being a part of everything. And I remember when my dad got a letter from Dr. Hertzen, who didn't know my dad, had never met him, and he had said how much he admired him and the fact that anytime he could be of help to him. And so when all of this started happening, Daddy called Dr. Hertzen, and he was here, and we were able to get some things and explore and continue to build on what was here. So now, why are we here? We're here because of the fact that we're still working to get some other things accomplished, and so I so feel that my parents, my family, my brothers had done so much, and they were in the trenches when I was out sort of playing golf around the world, right? And so I feel a very strong sense of responsibility and obligation to continue to do the things that my dad would have had done and wanted to get done, but wasn't able to do. Certainly if he walked the course and hand-seeded it, how much he really was so persistent and dedicated to it. So had he been able to put in an irrigation system, there would be no golf course that would be any better than this course. Sure. So I'm hoping that many people decide to come along with Clearview, come along with us, and we're always looking to get donations, and we do fundraisers to help to grow things, and certainly get an automatic irrigation system in, and also a building educational center, just a small building where all the things that we have received as a family and will be able to be presented there, in a William and Marcella Powell archival area, a Lawrence Powell agronomy room, and certainly, as I love to teach, the Renee Powell Golf Learning Center. So those are some of the things that we're working on currently. And hopefully, as people see what is being done here, what somebody had done back in 1946, and nearly 75 years ago. So my goal is by the end of 2021 that irrigation system will be in, that building will be up, that we'll have this endowment, that long after we're all gone, 75 plus more years, we'll all be able to, all of us, we'll be able to look down and see this beautiful golf course that's still here. Although I am receiving this and you're presenting this to me, Jan, this award being presented to me is also a part of what my entire family has done. So I accept this award and honor on behalf of my entire family that has done so much to grow the game of golf, to diversify it, to be inclusive, and all for the love of the game that we have. So I thank you all very, very much. And I want to also thank the selection committee that decided to present me with this incredible honor. It's something that I never thought that I would ever have, but I so appreciate it, and so appreciate it for my family too.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
So, to my friend, to my inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Renee. Renee was able to join me recently for an ASGCA Insights podcast interview. If you haven't had a chance, I encourage you to give it a listen. She speaks about her days on the LPGA Tour, traveling with the USO to visit American troops in Vietnam, and the time that she spent living in the United Kingdom and her days at St. Andrews. I'd also like to thank the folks at Clearview Golf Club. They played host to a number of ASGCA members here recently, where we videotaped a number of the pieces that you're seeing today. Despite the fact that they had a full tee sheets, in fact, they had a men's senior league that was just teeing off while we were doing a fair amount of our work, they went out of their way to make us feel at home, to address any concerns that we had, and to make sure that we got everything accomplished that we needed to for today's meeting. So we thank them.
And while we're experiencing our very first virtual annual meeting right now, I'd like to take a moment to note that getting out on the golf course together has always been a very important part of our in-person annual meetings. This year we're handling golf a bit differently by running 13 regional golf gatherings. Thanks to the more than 20 ASGCA members who volunteered to organize golf gatherings from Florida to California, because of your efforts, members, partners, and sponsors who otherwise would have missed out on golf this year were able to enjoy that camaraderie they look forward to at our annual meetings.
We have several more pieces coming up for you right now, Pretty soon you're going to hear from a veteran ASGCA member who talks about the state of the industry today and compares it to the way it was in the past. We'll have the passing of the presidential gavel from Jan Bell Jan to Forrest Richardson. They may have been 2,000 miles apart, but I think we were able to pull it off pretty well, and we'll get some comments from our incoming president. But first up, we're going to hear from ASGCA Treasurer Jason Straka, who will speak about the importance of collaboration during these challenging times.
Hello, my name is Jason Straka. I am Treasurer of the American Society of Golf Course Architects. I'd like to take a moment today to encourage all of you to keep together in the spirit of collaboration. I think that in today's challenging times and turbulent world, it is more important than ever that we work together, that we have empathy towards one another, that we stay in close, constant contact. That includes with golf course architects in and outside of ASGCA, with our suppliers, with our golf course superintendents, our builders, our owners, managers, and everybody who contributes to the game of golf. This attitude of cooperation and empathy is essential for the future success of our game, both within the world of ASGCA and out. Now more than ever, we have to be working together. It is an all for one and one for all. I'm so proud of how our members have in the past overcome challenging and turbulent times such as the Great Recession. And now today we are doing something very similar. Our members, working together with golf course owners and all of our sister organizations, are looking through this world through a very different and foggy lens. We're not sure what the future exactly holds, but we know that we can create opportunities, overcome our challenges, so long as we stay in close contact with one another and work together. Today, unique problem-solving skills of the golf course architect is more critical than ever, but this also goes beyond just the world of golf course architecture, but everybody within our industry. To that end, I would like to take a moment to specifically thank our leadership partners, our sponsors, and our industry providers, for it is your support which is so critical to ASGCA's success. Without your help and advocating for the game, we would not have the opportunity to put together programs such as Collaboration in We Are Golf, our educational programs, work with the ASGCA Foundation, and spending time with all of you in social gatherings to promote friendship and fellowship within the golf industry. Without your support, our members would not have access to the innovative products and the services and the people who help the golf course architects serve our clients. So thank you. Also, I'd like to tell you that please stay in touch with one another, stay close, work together, and together, again, we will be able to overcome these challenging times. So Godspeed and God bless.
Hi, I'm Mike Herdson. I've been a member of ASGCA since 1974. And as a result of that, I know that this year, 2020's pandemic, isn't the worst year we've experienced. And actually, some of the older members like Reese or Bobby or Roger or John or somebody will remember with me what it was like when the 1973 Arab oil embargo caused a recession that lasted 5 years. So from 1973 to 1978, there was almost no work to be found. In addition to that, and matter of fact, when we talk about no work, I'm talking about the possibility of 40 or 50 proposals for one good job. In addition to that, the landscape architects were trying to put pressure on us to do state-by-state licensure, which meant that we couldn't travel as freely as we wanted. And then lastly, anybody or anyone who had an interest in golf course design would submit a proposal for a project, no matter how unqualified they were. So as a result, fees were extremely low. So even in that harsh time, ASGCA was really the survivor that allowed us to, was our savior. And ASGCA raised the visibility of the organization and all of its members. And that gave us a little more of an edge. We went in for those interviews, and that helped a lot. The second thing they did is ASGCA beat down the licensure approach. And so now we had a situation where we could continue to freely practice as we always had. Had we had the licensure go through, I hate to think what it would have done to our profession and the organization. And then lastly, ASGCA formed partnerships and relationships with other industry groups and suppliers that not only sustained us through that very bad period of time, but even now is continuing to pay dividends. So here we are in 2020, and yes, it's not the best year, but rounds of golf are up. Every golf course is playing more rounds of golf now than they ever have before. And ASGCA is doing its part to make that continue. This is our chance to regrow the game. ASGCA is working on the Forward Tee initiative so we can get more players of diverse playing skills to be able to use the golf course, encouraging the development of driving ranges and short game centers, working with clubs that want to put in a lighted putting course or a pitch and putt that can increase the revenue stream for that golf course. In addition to that, we're working to build relationships through the GIS and a number of organizations to keep that visibility up. So being a member of ASGCA is probably the very best way to survive the pandemic of 2020.
I'd like to present the presidential gavel, long distance, to Forrest Richardson. Forrest Richardson, 2020 to 2021 President, American Society of Golf Course Architects. Forrest?
Thank you, Jan. And from all of us, thank you for your leadership. Jan has been our longest serving ASGCA president, 16 months since we've changed our meetings to the fall. Jan, I echo your thoughtful list of people we're grateful for. Our members, our friends at the allied organizations, our partners, and certainly our staff. Thank you, everybody. It's truly what makes ASGCA such a rich organization. Today I'm here at what we call the Snyder table. I first got introduced to this table in 1973. I had written a letter to the society, and I got back this very thoughtful letter from Paul Fulmer, the executive director, and included with it was a list of all the ASGCA members at the time and where they were located, and a map of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. One member was in my same zip code, Arthur Jack Snyder, and I called him up, and from that moment on, I became known as the kid on the bike. Jack's wife, Ruth, would always announce, "Jack, the kid on the bike is here." I was so passionate about golf course architecture. Jack was kind enough to show me topo, to show me what he was working on, and we really developed a friendship. Later on, I worked with Jack. Jack was the 38th member of the ASGCA. I'm the 200th member. Jack was president in 1983. He died in 2005. Jack also encouraged me to write the famous Golf Course Designer newsletter. And our members today who would remember that newsletter, because I sent it to everyone that I could, would be Bill Amick, Dick Phelps, John LaFoy, and I can't thank them enough for encouraging a young kid to keep writing and pursuing a career in golf course design. It's an honor to be a member. It's an honor to be your president. This is my 20th year in the society. I want to acknowledge my two sponsors who've since passed away, the late Jeff Harden and Greg Nash, and then to Bruce Charlton, my third sponsor. Thank you so much. I remember the day that Steve Smyers called me up and said, "Forrest, would you like to be on the executive committee?" It was a tremendous phone call. I'll always remember it. Thank you, Steve, and to all the presidents that I've had the pleasure to work with, Greg Martin, John Sanford, Jeff Bloom, and Jan, of course, to you. It's a shame, of course, that we're not in Cleveland for our annual meeting. The annual meetings are fun, they're rich with content, and it's an opportunity for us to talk about the profession that we love and the game we love. As you know, it was a tough decision to not do the annual meeting this year. I had plans to have Valerie, my wife and partner, there, to have my brother there, my daughter Haley, her fiance Brett Dyer. I think all of us could agree that without family support, being a golf course architect is an even greater challenge. I look forward to moving ahead in the coming year with Jason, Britt, and Mike And Jan, of course, you don't get a pass. The past president sticks around for a year. And as we look forward to what we're doing in 2021, I just want to say that we're also keeping our eye on the ball to make sure that we do whatever we can to support our members and the profession between now and next year when we have our real annual meeting. Finally, I want to say to Renee Powell and your family, Renee, congratulations. You are a deserved Donald Ross recipient. Your father's dream was incredible. Your family's love for golf is incredible. Your commitment to pursuing all that you do for the game and keeping that dream alive is just wonderful. Clearview is truly a model for what a golf course can and should be, a social space for neighborhoods and communities. And I have to say, Renee, it was a unanimous decision on our part. When your name came up, we didn't have to think twice. Congratulations. My remarks today are brief. That's by design. As we negotiate this COVID timeout, things are completely changed, as all of you know. I wanted today to be about acknowledging Renee and giving everyone an update from our staff and from Jan and from others about what we're doing and what we've done. In the coming week, I'll have a message for golf course architects around the world of where I think our profession may be headed. And it's my thoughts and my passion, so look for that in the coming week. For now, thank you. I'm honored, and thank you so much. I'd like to extend some thanks right now, especially to the men and women behind the scenes who have worked extensively over the past several weeks to bring this virtual annual meeting to fruition. We appreciate their efforts. Also, I'd like to extend a special thank you to the members of the Executive Committee for ASGCA this year. Jan Bell-Jan, Forrest Richardson, Jason Straka, Britt Stinson, and Jeff Bloom. On behalf of Chad, Aileen, myself, and the entire ASGCA staff, it has been a pleasure to work with this group who've been thrown together in very extraordinary time. The work that they have done, particularly over the past 7 months, has really been extraordinary. They have met on a regular basis every 2 weeks, meeting on the phone for 2 hours or more, addressing the challenges that we are facing, both as an organization and as individual members. They've listened to you, they've taken what advice we've been able to provide as well, and they have helped to lead this organization forward and set us up for a really strong future. It has been a pleasure to work with them.
And that wraps up our first ASGCA virtual annual meeting. As you heard from your ASGCA leaders over this past hour, ASGCA has weathered this unusual year intact. That's due to members working together to support a profession like no other, with a cohesiveness and strength built over 75 years and counting. On behalf of my colleague, Mark Whitney, I'd like to thank you for joining us. And now, because no annual meeting is complete without some music, I'll leave you with Britt Stenson, who says it better than we can. See you in Cleveland in October 2021.
So, in the immortal words of Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never hold your meeting when the COVID's still a raging. There'll be time enough for meeting when the COVID's done. Hope to see you all in Cleveland, October 2021. Stay safe.